Yes, indeed. It's Ringside Report MMA tonight on the show. We're previewing UFC Vegas Spivak versus Tybura. We'll tell you what happened in the UFC last weekend in Abu Dhabi. And Conor McGregor goes hog wild.
Let's go!
Hog wild, AJ. Hog wild.
What's up,
like
Chico?
WCW in 1996, where the big boys play. Conor McGregor was in Sturgis, South Dakota, for the big motorcycle rally, and he was getting hog wild, baby, with some ladies that were not getting Mr. McGregor's attention. What's up, AJ? I had to bust into the Dusty Rhodes a little bit. You talk about hog wild, baby. You talk about the American Dream. You talk about Dusty Rhodes. You talk about WCW where the big boys play. You talk about getting a bicycle. Going down
Sounds
to Sturgis,
Jamaican,
South Dakota
man.
with Eric Bischoff. Yes, you do, baby.
Wild Hogs. That's what I know, man. With John Travolta.
Yeah.
Remember that? Wild Hogs.
No,
Well,
I don't remember
That's about
that.
it, man.
We have different references, my friend. Our references are completely different, and that's what makes this an interesting conversation. You make references, and I go, what? And then I make references, and you go, what? And we have a good time. And in
Wild
between, we
Hogs.
try to analyze the game of MMA, but, you know, we try.
We try.
We try.
Doesn't always work out, but I'm glad to be back. I see like a few people on. Johnny, Brooklyn. I saw
know.
like Angelo, man. I'm back.
Yeah.
2 weeks, man.
Yeah.
Of no stress with this computer issue all the time. So far, so good. Please. Well, fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Even my nuts are crossed.
Yo,
But
that's bad. You should uncross them because you could hurt yourself.
Should ask my brother. He knows. Long story. But all to say is, what's that?
I kind
Johnny
of want
Norris
to get
says
into
hog
that
wild is a
story.
Very
That's
race.
Oh, there you go. There's his internet crapping out already. What's the story with the crisscross
Jesus.
balls?
It's a long story. I can't say it. I'm not allowed to.
Well, you brought it up,
But he was
man. I mean, that sounds
He
like a
got
good story.
hospitalized. It is a pretty good story, but like it's.
Is he okay?
Yeah, he was standing. Yeah, he's okay. Like he was young. He was standing on a spiked fence and playing a game of chicken with Muscles Marco.
Enough said.
And
Enough said.
he
Enough
lost.
said.
Yeah,
Enough
there you
said.
go.
Cool.
If he's watching, he's like,
Crisscrossed.
yeah.
That's not
you
what
want
I
your
thought
legs
you
to
meant.
cross?
You know, sometimes you kind of move your legs over and your one goes over the other and you go, oh, you know? Doesn't happen to you.
This was worse, man.
It's ever happened to you?
This
That
was
happens,
Shish
right?
Kebab live.
Is that just me?
Hey, listen, I'm going to tell you one thing. It's a good thing he was wearing a Speedo bathing suit back in the days, or else it could have been a lot worse. Crisscross.
Applesauce.
Think about it. Muscles Marco, man, and my brother. You see, you didn't have phones back then, or YouTube, or like Twitter and everything else.
No.
You just had good, wholesome fun.
That doesn't sound
every
like
once in a while
fun.
you're in the
Getting
hospital.
your nuts spiked on a fence? That doesn't sound like fun. What are you talking about? I'd rather be on my phone than getting my nuts spiked.
He's gonna be pissed at me, my brother, if he hears that. But yeah, that's what happened, man. So kids, remember this. Listen from Uncle AJ. Do not stand on a spiked fence and try to go or walk across it while you have like your cousin kicking it. Chances are you're gonna lose.
I mean, that seems like a lesson that only the D'Alessio family needs to learn, AJ. I don't think that's something that the general population is confused
Just
about.
saying.
Don't walk on top of a spiked fence while your cousin kicks the fence. Something bad might happen. I think that falls into the no shit category. What?
Listen, all I can say is this: Speedo is a good product. Thank God for Speedo.
True Italian.
Michael
through and
Phelps can
through.
agree,
What a
too.
European you are, AJ. You're so European. Love a good Speedo.
Speedos and gold chains, man. Soprano style.
Have you rocked that on a beach? Have you rocked a Speedo
Of course.
in your life?
I used to back in the days, yeah.
You did?
Yeah, why? Why not?
In like the 80s or something? When did you do this? When is the last time you rocked a Speedo on a public beach?
Well, you know what? Like ever since I got my knee injury and all that kind of stuff, I don't wear like my Speedos anymore, you know?
Yeah.
It's a long, yeah.
Okay.
But the thing is that I used to, the whole like tan body in the Speedos, and Man, that was a normal thing back in the days. I'm sure your dad too wore Speedos, man. Don't kid
In
yourself.
1981, I don't think so. Maybe. I don't know. Before
Listen,
I
in
was
Europe,
born,
man.
AJ, a lot of things happened, man.
Listen,
I'm not really sure.
Oof. Listen, in Europe, it's still like, you can't walk with like boxer shorts or MMA shorts. They're
Yeah,
all like rocking Speedos, man.
I don't like that. My dad says he never rocked a Speedo. I just got the word from him.
What?
He says
I
never.
find that hard to believe. Oh, come on.
Not
you serious?
everybody's as, like you. I've never rocked a Speedo either.
Speedos?
I'm not a Speedo, man. I don't even
Yeah,
wear
but you're
briefs.
born at a different time.
What kind of underwears you rock, bro? You wear boxer briefs or what? Boxers, briefs? What are you doing?
I used to wear briefs.
Yeah.
Then I wore boxers for a little time. In fact, I was like, I don't know if you knew that, but I was manufacturing like men's sportswear at one point, and AJ was making boxers. They were really like the in thing in the 90s, man. 2000. Well, actually the 90s more than anything.
I want to know what you're currently doing. What do you do these days? I'm a boxer brief man. I like a boxer brief. I don't like the boxer. I find it it's too much
loose
baggage in the pants. You know what I mean? There's too much in there, too much material flying around. So I like it kind of tighter. But like the Valetudo short type of thing, but like a
Valetudo, yeah, that's cool. Yeah, the Gracie
like a
style,
short
man.
Valetudo style, bro.
Yeah. Murillo Bustamante, like fighting days in the UFC.
But
that
cotton,
kind of stuff.
Usually cotton. Sometimes something else.
I like the spandex more,
The
bro.
spandex,
It's like they gotta
constantly, always the spandex. Never. I like to have the mix and match. Sometimes spandex, sometimes not.
Yeah, it could be a mix of like spandex and cotton, but I'm around that line too, because when you do jiu-jitsu, you're always wearing tight clothes. Every once in a while I'll walk around with a rash guard in the winter just to keep warm.
I have separate jiu-jitsu underwears and tights and all sorts of stuff like that. I don't even wear my normal underwears for jiu-jitsu. I got some really I got some really nice Adidas spandex jiu-jitsu underwears, but like they go all the way just above the knee. Sick. You could wear like shorter shorts and then those underneath. Fantastic. I wore them last night. Felt great. That's right, AJ. I was on the mats last night. When's the last time you were on the mats, bro?
Last week, in fact, dude.
Last week.
And Monday I'm back. Yep.
Not bad.
I'm
Monday
back,
you're
I'm
back.
in
Whoa,
my training.
whoa.
No,
what do you mean? You're going a whole week without going? That's craziness. How do you do that?
Well, I was like, I had my little guy, and it's not as easy to.
I understand.
You know what I mean? It's like, so what I do in between is that I work out, like, I do a lot of exercises, a lot of weights, a lot of cardio, a lot of functional training.
AJ's a machine.
As much as I can.
Yeah.
But I do a lot of skipping, man. Skipping is my my thing now. I keep skipping all the time. I gotta get back into competitive weight. But the thing is that like jiu-jitsu, every second week now is going to be a little bit more, intense.
Right. Good.
That's what happens,
Good. That's what I want to hear, man. Up that intensity.
Hey, man, when you're a single dad, what do you expect?
Yeah, no, I get you. But yeah, I went last night. I had a really good time, man. I got my buddy Russell. He's been doing jiu-jitsu now for 3 or 4 months. He just started.
Wow.
38 years old, starting jiu-jitsu.
Good
I'm
for him.
super proud of him. He's stuck with it. He's improving. It's really good.
Bravo.
I told him last night. I rolled with him. I rolled with him last night, and I was like, I actually have to kind of take you half serious now. Like, I actually, you know what I mean? He's at a point now where I have to kind of watch out and stuff, Like, before you're kind of playing, you know what I mean? But now I have to be a little sharper because he's getting there. It's good.
Listen, man, and I say that all the time. Like, when it comes to martial arts, like, every time I hear martial arts, I'm a black belt in this, I'm a black belt in that. I'm like, I don't give a fuck. But really, it's whatever. But in jiu-jitsu, when I hear someone say, oh, I'm training martial arts, and I'm like, what are you doing? BJJ. I said, Brazilian jiu-jitsu. They're like, yeah. How long have you been doing it? Oh, 6 months. And I'm like, ooh, I take that serious. And that's the funny thing in jiu-jitsu. If a guy's been doing it for 6 months, I'm more worried about that guy than some black belt in some other kind of style. I'll be honest. But that's the danger of jiu-jitsu. It's like 6 months, Jesus.
Yeah,
especially
6 months.
Now,
you're a pretty dangerous
the young guys
guy.
are so with the amount of training, and like we said this in the past so many times. But the amount of training and the amount of training partners and the level of jiu-jitsu is like so good now. Every time I go see these tournaments, that we go see all together, I look at some of these fighters, like your kid Luca there. That kid, man, he's like sick. But what I'm trying to say is he's so young and he's so talented, and there's so many of them. And I'm like, I'm so happy, even though like they can smash me now. You know, I'm like, I'll
good,
be
man.
honest, like, you know, their level of jiu-jitsu makes me happy because it just goes to show you, man, it's such an evolving sport. And when you think about it, back in 1991, I believe it was, when like, you know, Royce Gracie came out and showed the world what jiu-jitsu was. And prior to that, like the Helio Gracie and everybody else, Rickson and everyone else
Yeah.
that was already destroying everyone in jiu-jitsu, didn't realize, you know, like how popular jiu-jitsu would get because of Royce in the end. You know, he's the one who brought it to like, you know, mainstream. And keep in mind that Royce Gracie was the one that was selected to go represent the family, and he was considered, from what I heard, he was considered the least dangerous of the family. So they put the last guy in the family rank to go fight the world's best. And
That's
look
not
what
what Hoist says.
Yeah, well, Hoist can say
Hoist
what he wants,
says-
but Rickson,
Hoist
imagine
says they
Rickson
chose
at
him.
that time.
Hoist says they chose him because he was the most handsome, and they wanted somebody marketable.
Well, that too. He was pretty handsome. He had great hair at the time.
He was a handsome
but
guy.
Remember, he was a handsome guy, but he was no like Rickson and all the rest, man. Let's be honest. That clan was so dangerous, man.
Sorry, are you saying Hickson was more handsome than Hoist? Are we comparing? Are we rating the Gracies on handsomeness, AJ?
Well,
what are you saying?
listen, maybe because when you looked at his physical, look at his physique, man, and look, his hairstyle looked good, his
We're
mustache, and all
getting
the rest
into
of the stuff.
dangerous territory with you, man. You're gonna get
but
into
let me tell
the
you,
sauna
think
talk.
of his jiu-jitsu.
You know?
Who was dangerous in jiu-jitsu at that time? Hickson.
Of course, yeah. Nobody's debating that. Hickson was the man back in that day. He would have probably beat Hoist if he was in the UFC, for sure.
But all to say,
sure.
just to
But
say, like
the point is,
like
AJ, and I think I'll make your point for you because I think you're gonna get there eventually, but I'll get there a little quicker. Is that the level of jiu-jitsu just keeps getting better and better, and even as an older guy in jiu-jitsu, and I'm an older guy in jiu-jitsu now, you know, it's kind of crazy. But like the older guys are looking at me like, or the younger guys are, you know. I rolled with a guy on Friday morning. Fred says he's like kind of bringing him along. I think he's Fred's protege. He's like a 17-year-old kid. Okay, I roll with him. I go to roll with him, you know. And Fred's like, he's brand new. I was like, oh yeah. I was like, how long? He's like, I've been doing it a month. I was like, okay, I'll take it easy on you. We'll have a nice like easy roll. I'll show you some stuff, right? And he goes, I'm like, how old are you? He's like, oh, I'm 17. I was like, oh, okay. He's like, how old are you? And I told him how old I was. I'm not going to say it on the show because I don't want to reveal it necessarily. I'm going to play the AJ game. I'm old enough to be like, well, you know, I don't want to say anymore. But
your dad?
So I go, yeah, I'm considerably older than him, right? And he goes, oh, is it normal to have gray hair at your age? I was like, whoa, what the fuck, bro?
He said that?
He was like, I think he was like legit asking, like, is it normal? And I have like a few white hairs. You can't really tell on camera, but in person you can kind of tell. I've got like a few white hairs. It's mostly AJ giving them to me, by the way. But so he says this to me, and I was like, what the? So I was like, man, I can't believe this guy is treating me like an old guy, you know? So there's kids now in jiu-jitsu that are like, oh. And I was like, I can't believe you said this to me, man. I'm going to kick your ass. And then I did pretty bad. I beat him up. I hit him with mother's milk, which is my favorite embarrassing move to hit on people now. When I want to embarrass somebody, I just mount them and stick my chest in their face until they tap. Pretty mean.
We call that a turkey choke back in the days. I was saying to you.
They call it mother's milk
to you guys.
You can guess why.
Yeah, we used to call it the turkey choke.
But could you believe that shit, AJ? This guy's calling me old. But this is the thing. You see, like, I'm even an old guy now in jiu-jitsu, like you. And I'm seeing the younger guys, and it's like, yeah, some of these guys are really good, and the level's really good. That kid, you know, he's still learning. But, like, give him a year or a couple years, he'll be beating me. He'll have all sorts of skills and stuff. So they're learning. They're getting better.
Happens.
And the level is great. And I like to see it. And I like to see more and more people doing jiu-jitsu. I like to see the sport moving forward. I like to see people making money doing jiu-jitsu. It's cool to see, man. I love jiu-jitsu, and I like to see the next generations, like, see how that's going to go.
No, but that's the thing with me. Like, and I just want to say a couple of things. Number one is I hope it doesn't get watered down by the amount of, like, you know, teams that are out there and teams and whatnot. Like, you know, you gotta keep jiu-jitsu real, you know. Don't, you know, I've seen a few things with a couple of organizations and schools where I'm like,
All right,
dude,
you don't
man,
have to
that's not
disparage
BJJ.
anybody, AJ. We got other business at
I'm
hand,
just saying,
man. We've
can
got.
I just say one? Wait.
All
Last
right.
Last thing. The thing is that we're talking about all the young guys, but we also got to keep in mind for all the guys that are out there, because I've seen guys coming in now at 60, 70 years old, starting jujitsu, man, wanting to like start a sport because their doctor says, listen, man, you got to start exercising. I've seen it. I'm seeing older people. So if you're out there and you're like,
Yes.
whatever, in your 50s, 60s, 70s, don't be afraid, man. Just do it, because the thing is that it's a sport, not like we're talking always about the young guys and the killers, but man, like there's that small growing group of like not only guys, I'm talking girls, man. I've seen women coming in at 60 years old, like mid 60s, coming into jiu-jitsu and really, man, training hard and I'm telling you, looking really good,
Yeah, you
and
can
healthy.
do it. As long as you put the work in, you could start at any age. You could be 17, you could be 47. It doesn't really matter how old you are. You
60,
could start
70,
and you
matter.
start at your own pace. And a lot of people, like, they're intimidated by it and they don't want to do it because they think, oh, I'm going to get beat up or this and that. But once you get into it and once you do it, you realize nobody's there to beat you up. Like, if you're a 40-year-old guy who's never done jiu-jitsu and isn't super athletic, nobody in the jiu-jitsu gym is going to win any medals by tapping you out. So, for the most part, people are going to be pretty chill and you're going to make your way and you'll be all right. You know what I'm saying, AJ? Like, some people are scared to start, but I don't think they should be, because for the most part, people are going to treat you right and they want you to keep going. Guys like me and AJ will be there and they'll treat you right because we want you to come back next week. We don't want to run you off. Nobody's trying to run anybody off of jiu-jitsu. We're trying to, we want to make you into the next training partner. We want to make you, more people we have, the better it is for us.
But it's an interesting culture because it's not just a martial arts. It's like a culture. Like if you want to compare it to like the surfing culture, there's a lot of like similarities between the surfing culture and jiu-jitsu for some reason. But yeah, there's like, it's not just a martial art. It's a welcoming thing. Yeah, for sure. You're going to win. You're going to lose. I think Hugo Gracie once said that you're going to lose 10,000 times before you win. And that is normal, man. You lose your ego. It's going to happen. But who cares?
Yeah, it's fun too. It's really fun.
It's super fun, man.
Especially once you get the hang of it a little bit, like you don't have to be great. You don't have to be a black belt world champion or whatever to enjoy it. It's fun to just be kind of mid-level at jiu-jitsu and just kind of play around and, improve your game and stay fit. And, like I'm not doing it to be a world champion. I'm not doing it to be the best in the world or anything like that. I'm doing it because it's fun. I like to improve my game and, see what I can do, see what I'm capable of. I like to push myself, and I like to stay fit, And I like the community of jiu-jitsu because the community is really great. So, especially at 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu, it is super fun. So, there you go.
I like to be like
great.
down on
That's
her,
a great
man.
commercial for jiu-jitsu, AJ. And I tell you what, once I have you doing a commercial for jiu-jitsu, we're going to talk about Conor McGregor at Hog Wild or whatever he was at. I'll show you a little video of Conor. But before I do that, I'm going to tell you about our friends over at X Marshall. Go check them out. Use the promo code XMarsh or Ringside at checkout over at xmarshall.com. The roar of the crowd thrums in your ears, and the lights seem impossibly bright. You stand in the octagon, the center of a universe focused on one thing: combat. Unlike a gladiator of old, you're not limited to a single weapon. In the ever-evolving world of MMA, success hinges on mastering a diverse arsenal: striking, takedowns, ground control, and submissions. But where do you begin? Fear not, aspiring fighter. X Marshall is your corner man. Inspired by legends like Khabib Nurmagomedov, our gear is designed to withstand the most intensive training regimens from BJJ and grappling to MMA. Made with a quality mixture of materials, our products feature reinforced seams with double flat lock stitching and gel panel technologies for maximum comfort. We provide high-quality rash guards and cost-effective gear and services. X Marshall stands out as the flashiest and fastest growing brand in the jiu-jitsu community. People wanted cool gear, and X-Martial delivered with style, swankiness that made everyone go, wow. With 300 sponsored athletes and tens of thousands of dollars in gear and cash giveaways, X-Martial reinvests a healthy chunk of its profits back into the community that fueled its growth. Check out the Dojo Roadshow, where the X-Martial team travels the U.S. in an RV, visiting gyms, taking on challenges, and hanging out with jiu-jitsu legends. They meet athletes, have challenges, and sponsor them along the way. It's not just gear, it's a movement. Buckle up and roll with X-Martial. Right now, you can get 15% off the entire store over at xmartial.com using our code RINGSIDE at checkout. Stand bold. Stand out. X-Martial.
Damn. X says it all.
New sponsor of the Ringside Report Network,
Wow, I didn't listen.
xmartial.com.
Wow, that's some really nice gear, man. That was some nice stuff. And you know what the crazy part about it is? That I had no idea that you were going to do that advertisement, and we led it up into jiu-jitsu. I had no clue, but X-Martial, really nice stuff, man. Welcome, guys. Welcome to the Ringside world.
Yes.
I need to get some of that stuff. What's the matter, Dave? Did you lose something?
No,
Your
sorry,
teeth?
there was,
What?
Don't worry about it. I'm back.
Your dentures?
Yes, I wanted to just let you have your space, AJ. I had to.
Wow, that was X says it all, dude. That's a really nice, nice sponsor. Where are they based out of? The U.S., I believe. No,
I think so. Yep.
I'm gonna look into it. I don't know if it's
Inspired
great,
by legends like Khabib Nurmagomedov, AJ, who is
that says
who is your well, I don't know, who is Donald Trump's favorite fighter. Donald Trump was interviewed recently, and he said his favorite fighter in UFC history is Khabib Nurmagomedov. And, of course, Conor McGregor was not too happy about this, said, Trump's campaign is over. He's done. How could he do this? Conor was not impressed. He went wild on Twitter about Donald Trump and how displeased he was. And it just struck me as a little bit odd that a guy running for president of America wouldn't choose an American as his favorite UFC fighter.
Listen, man, I said the same thing.
He would choose a Russian, which, given the Trump, Russia, you know what I mean? Like, he's got, there was a lot of talk about Trump and Russia. So the fact that Trump would choose a Russian dude as his favorite UFC fighter of all time instead of an American when you're running for president of America, I would have thought he would have chosen an American.
Don't be petty.
Well, come on, man. If you ask a guy running for prime minister who his favorite UFC fighter is, they'll probably say George St. Pierre. You know what I mean? Like, you kind of got to go with the home team. I don't know.
Except for the Canadian one. I won't say too much because I don't want anybody knocking on my door with horses and,
I hope they do knock on your door with horses. That would be
Listen, I'm going to tell you something. That's like a false statement because the reason why is that
fake news.
Listen, because the thing is this, to all my Rumble fans out there, I'm going to tell you why. Because to be honest, I love Khabib, and to be honest, most people love Khabib, and a lot of the shenanigans that are going on now, we don't know if it's true, if it's whatever. I mean, that's questionable. But the bottom line is who doesn't like Khabib? And everybody liked Khabib before. So if I supported Khabib, which I do, look at him. I got my hat here.
Yeah,
you're defending your boy.
You're trying to make an excuse. We all know.
No excuse, man.
We all know he should have chosen John Jones, but there's a reason why he won't choose John Jones, and we all know the reason why.
Good old John. Listen, he's a good old American.
And it's
John
not
Jones.
for anything John Jones did outside the cage. That's not why Trump wouldn't choose John Jones, AJ.
You know
why you wouldn't choose John Jones?
The homeless guy that he almost shot?
No, I don't think that has anything to do with it. Oh, like Khabib paying the homeless guy like $5 to do push-ups? That was way better.
I mean, he put him in shape.
Sure.
What are you talking about? He put him in shape. Did you see that?
The
guy did about, I think, 20.
You are without it. You have nothing. You have nothing behind you. Just thin, empty paper.
But I still got the hat. And you know what? I love wearing this hat out in the winter.
That's nice. You and Trump could bond over your love of the Russian Khabib Nurmagomedov. Go ahead.
Man,
Go
I
ahead,
wish
you
I could.
unpatriotic bastards. How dare you?
I wish I could
I
wrestle.
happen to love
like the
America,
freaking eagle.
unlike you guys. I happen
I
to
love
think America
America.
is already great. I don't think it needs to be made great again. I think it's already pretty damn
Oof.
fantastic.
At this
I think
stage,
it's pretty
at this
rude.
Stage, it
I
needs to
think
be-
it's pretty rude for anybody to say, make America great again, as if it's not great, as if
Yeah,
America
damn right.
sucks. America is great.
Look at my stocks ever since. But anyways, I'm just gonna say this.
You don't have stocks. You're making it up.
He chose. I didn't say scotch. I have some of that too. I said stocks.
I don't have either. I don't know what you're talking about.
But you got a lot of collectibles that are kind of like stocks.
I haven't been to most states, Johnny North, but the states I've been to, I love, all right? They're great. Who doesn't love America? America's an awesome place.
It is, man. Number
I
one.
don't know, man. The people are great. The places are fantastic. It's an incredible land full of incredible stuff.
They've
It's
got
great,
Cracker
man.
Barrel. They've got
I
all
don't
kinds-
want to hear any anti-American stuff here. I'm pro-America.
That's right.
Big time pro-America. I don't like anybody talking bad about America. Like, you
Play
got to
the
make it
anthem,
great
man. Do
again. I
something.
think it's already pretty good. It's
It
already
is pretty good, but it could be better. And it will
It could be
in a couple
better.
months from
Everything
now.
could be better. Everything could be better.
Listen,
AJ.
play the anthem, dude. Do something.
Let's sing. Let's sing. You want to sing?
Oh, see, you want to take it off?
I don't- I was gonna
Star
let you do
Spangled
it.
Banner or
Star Spangled
the theme
Banner's
go, dude.
okay. I like God Bless America. I think that's a good one.
God bless
That's a
America.
good. I like the oceans white with foam. I like that line. I find that I don't know. It gives me a chuckle every time. And the oceans white with foam. You're like, foam. All right. Why are we talking about white foam? What is this? What is this song? You just needed something to rhyme with home sweet home. So you're like, how about foam? Yeah. We got oceans. What do they got? Water, salt, waves. Nope. Foam. Is that foam?
Foam sounds good.
Yeah, it's foam. That's foam. Sure. They were gonna do
It's like a rap
phone,
song,
but they
man.
didn't
You
think
gotta
that
put
that was
something
gonna
in.
work. And the
did.
ocean where I lost my phone. That'd be good.
God bless America.
Yeah. You know how I know that song, AJ? Seventh inning. Seventh
Baseball.
inning stretch.
I knew it. I knew it, man.
They
It's
used
either
to
that
play
or
Take Me Out to the Ball Game. They used to do Take
Yeah,
Me Out to the Ball
exactly.
Game, but then at some point, seventh inning, they switched to God Bless America. I don't know if it's just.
That's okay.
I think it's everywhere in the States, right? Yankees are blowing it, by the
Good.
way. They're losing 7-1 right now. It's a disaster in the Bronx.
Damn.
Yeah, it's bad.
Yeesh. Take me out to the ball game or take me out of the ball
White
game.
with foam. Conor
God
McGregor.
bless. Conor.
Conor
Well, back to Conor
McGregor.
and Hog Wild, man. Doesn't he look great?
What do you mean?
Did you see that girl kind of twerking with him? And he
Yes.
just like didn't give a rat's ass?
Yes.
That was show that clip. Show that clip.
Okay.
That's a good one.
Okay.
Let's
coming.
see it.
There
Johnny,
is.
it's coming.
Johnny, it's coming right in your face. There's Conor McGregor at Sturgis, and there's a little lady, and she's dancing.
Look at her go.
Hey,
Look at her
hey,
go.
hey, Conor, not even looking. He's like, "Can I
Isn't
get
that
out of
the
here? Who
gymnast?
is this girl? What is she doing?" He is.
Look at him.
She is really trying to get his attention. She's looking right at him. She's dancing
Well,
with her
she's
butt.
trying. Look at her.
And Conor
Look
is
at that.
not even
Boom,
looking in
boom,
her direction.
boom,
He's like,
boom, boom. Steve,
couldn't
Stone
care
Cold,
less.
man.
So
He
he's
looks like
been
Stone
out.
Cold.
He's been drinking. He's been partying. I don't know if he's been training. I think Michael Chandler's like given up on the fight. Right? He gave up, didn't he?
I'm not sure, but I mean, if he's watching this, he'd probably be like, you know what? How come he's at that party, man, and he didn't invite me?
I
Hog
think
Wild.
he said like,
You sure that's not a movie clip? You think maybe he's at some kind of like? I'm
I don't
just
know
saying.
what that was. Look at this. Michael Chandler 3 days ago. Never mind, guys. I think it's time I finally admit the fight is off. He's still in stage 2 of the 7 of grief pertaining to his career being over. Figured he'd be closer to 5 by now. Godspeed, the notorious MMA.
There's some like despair in that message, man.
What's Big Con Man
Look at
saying?
Conor.
We do not comply. Oh, he's doing Irish politics.
That's
he thinks
it.
He's
Conor for president.
Morpheus. He thinks he's Morpheus
Wow,
at
look
Bare
at
Knuckle
him.
FC.
He
does
looks
look
good.
like. Who's Morpheus, AJ?
What's that? I know that.
Where he says
it's from
where Conor goes Morpheus, and he's like this. What's he talking about?
I'm trying to think, man. I'm trying to think. I know it's a movie. I'm just not my style of movie.
The Matrix.
That I was gonna say that Keanu Reeves. I was just gonna say Keanu, and yes, I got it half right in my mind.
I think Conor deleted his Trump tweets. It's all gone. He's deleted.
Mad, Conor.
He got mad at Trump
He'll
about
get mad.
Khabib, and then he deleted it all.
But why is he getting mad at him for? This is before, man. Take it easy, Conor.
Well,
He did
what do you
beat you
mean?
in the end.
He hates Khabib, and he can't believe anyone would choose him as their favorite fighter. Trump
But
should
he's
have
not even
chosen Conor
American.
McGregor, not Khabib.
Look, if I had to choose anybody, let's be honest. Who would you choose as the greatest fighter of all time?
John Jones?
It hurts me to say this, but I kind of agree with you, man.
Yeah, I know, because I'm right. It's clear. I don't know why people still
Look.
argue this. It's crazy.
Look, man,
There's
if
no
I have
argument.
to separate, there's no argument. And then, you know me, I'm not like, I've been on Jones's like back and like, but I gotta admit, like,
Yeah.
he's one of the greatest like mixed martial artists of all time.
Yeah.
He's there. When you're gonna talk about mixed martial arts in 25 years from now, obviously you're gonna be talking about the start of, Royce Gracie. You're gonna be talking about the Dan Severins. You're gonna be talking about the George St. Pierre's, the Khabibs,
Hey,
the Conor McGregors for
you
sure.
know who?
But you're gonna be talking about John Jones as being the greatest, man.
Trump said Khabib is his favorite fighter of all time. You know who? AJ,
Oh,
get near
listen,
your
man,
mic,
he's
by
on
the
my
way. You're
top
too
three.
far from your mic, AJ. You know where your mic is, right? There you go.
Yeah,
Hey,
I was getting
AJ.
a bit depressed there.
Kamala Harris, she said her favorite fighter of all time is John Jones. She got it right. Just
She
saying.
doesn't even know who John Jones
She
is. She
said
could
it
have
was
picked him
John
out of a
Jones.
yard.
I asked her.
She doesn't know
I
what
called
she's
her up.
talking
I said,
about.
Kamala, who's your favorite
Camel.
fighter of all time? She's like, Dave,
Donald
my
Duck.
man. It's obviously John Jones. And I was like, exactly,
She
Kamala.
don't know. She
You
don't
got
know
it
squat,
again.
man.
And she's like, yup. And I was like, all right,
Nah,
let's go
man, I
get
don't
it.
believe
And
that.
she's like, yup. And I was like, all right, goodbye. And I hung up. I said, that's enough of you, Kamala.
And he's like one of the best boxers I've ever seen in my life.
She calls
He
me
probably
time
beat
to
Mike
time
Tyson.
for advice. You know what I mean? I think it's good. You got to call people in the know. She
Don't
was in
put that
Montreal
your-
for a while. She went to Westmount High School. And, when you're in Montreal, you realize that some people are wise, man, like Dave. So she calls me and
Too
she
bad
gets
she doesn't
advice.
mention that.
Man, she can't mention
Don't
it,
get
bro.
it. Don't say that,
I'm a,
dude. because
I'm
you're
a
gonna be-
toxic personality, man. She can't be, she can't be publicly acknowledging that she's taking advice from Dave, who's like,
Don't say
you
that
know.
because if she's taking advice from you, man, and all the fuck ups that she does, it's gonna look bad on our show,
nah,
man.
she's
Sorry,
gonna
dude.
be the president, bro. You'll see. It'll
yeah,
happen
the
soon
president of like Crack Valley, man.
enough. Okay. I'm willing to take a bet on it. I think she's gonna win.
At least you can say one thing.
I like to back
like
a
there's
winner,
hope
bro.
for anybody to
Like
be
John Jones,
Hmm.
somebody who actually defends his championship for years and years. Unlike that
Well,
Khabib Nurmagomedov, who Trump
Khabib.
favored over any American fighter. I just couldn't believe he chose a non-American. Shocking.
Listen,
Shocking.
man, it's Khabib, man, best fighter.
In 155
listen, man.
history. Cool. His
Yeah.
cousin Umar got a win last
Umar.
weekend, beating
Ooh.
Corey Sandhagen in Abu Dhabi. Umar Nurmagomedov not only won a
What a
unanimous
beast.
decision, but he earned himself a title shot. The UFC making it
Yep.
official. Umar is next for the winner of Sean O'Malley versus Merab Dvalishvili. Those two guys fighting.
That was a good fight, man.
Merab and Sean are fighting, what, end of August? Or, no, I think it's early September. Early September, yeah. September 14th. So the winner will fight Usman. The winner will defend the championship against Usman Nurmagomedov. They're going to throw the undefeated cousin of Khabib at the bantamweight champion next, which is pretty cool. Umar looked good. Solid fight for
He
Umar.
looked impressive, man. Solid, man. He was so like dangerous, man.
Yeah.
And so scary, man. When you look at him, you're like, damn, he has better hands than Khabib had, that's for sure. But his grappling was like pretty solid. Pretty
Speaking
solid.
of
But
solid
a lot of
grappling,
listen, but a
Mackenzie
lot of
Dern got
credit
a win
to
too, AJ. You happy?
Oh, I was so happy.
Mm-hmm.
You know my Mackenzie. But I was just about to say before that, you got to give some credit to Corey for being able to like get out of a lot of like dangerous
Yeah, he's good, man.
attacks by, Umar. But yeah, man, that was, and even the Sharapudin, man.
Yeah.
Sharapudin, the red-headed demon, man. That guy is like,
Sharabulit, baby.
damn.
Yeah, he looked really good. Decision win over Michael Oleksiejczuk. Davison Figueiredo looked pretty solid, beating Marlon Vera. That was a big win for Figueiredo at
nice
135.
and then our man.
And then, of course, Michael Chiesa got a first-round rear naked choke submission win over Tony Ferguson. And Tony kind of said he was done, but didn't really. And he's 40 years old, and he's lost 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in a row.
Quite a few,
7
man.
in a row. 8?
That's crazy, man. Who would have thought that, man?
He's lost
Jesus,
8 straight.
man.
He hasn't won a fight since 2019. And I know why he's not retiring.
Why? I mean,
come on, man.
Cormier was trying to convince him to retire, man. On that, like,
you know
when
why?
he was doing like,
you know why? Because Cormier's told to convince him to retire. Because the UFC wants him to retire. But Ferguson doesn't want to retire. I'll tell you why, AJ. Because he's under contract. Which is so horrible. If Tony Ferguson retired and the UFC cut him from his contract, that would be one thing. But Tony Ferguson knows, and the people around Tony Ferguson know, that he's a big name in combat sports, and there's stuff to do outside of the UFC if and when he gets an opportunity. So he's got to fight out his contract. Fight out the contract. Man. You got to fight it out because the UFC's not letting you go. If you have a name and you're under contract, they're not going to let you go to make money for somebody else. They're not. That's been proven. So what does the UFC what do they do when you're a name and you're coming kind of towards the end of your career? They see the end on the horizon. What does the UFC do? They offer you a 10-fight contract that you take because it's big money. And like, wow, they're going to pay me this much for 8 fights from now? That's crazy. I'm not going to do that many fights, but wow, I'm still making this money? That's great. So he's making money. But he can't leave. He's stuck. And that's how they do. That's why George St. Pierre hasn't done anything outside of the UFC since he retired. Because he's still under contract. That's why the only thing that George St. Pierre was even talking about doing was that UFC Fight Pass Invitational grappling match. Why was he going to do that? Because the UFC runs that too, and they were going to let him do it. Because the UFC can refuse to let you do something, or they can allow it if you're under contract. So Tony Ferguson can't do a grappling match for money. He can't box. He can't bare knuckle box. He can't do anything outside of the UFC as long as he's under contract. So people that look at this face value go, he's lost 8 in a row. Like, why isn't he retiring? Come on. Because if he retires, then he's fucked. Then they own him for his whole life. Do you want somebody to own you for your whole life? Where if an opportunity presents itself, you can't do it because you're under contract to a company you retired from? Why do you think Jose Aldo came out of retirement?
You're right.
Come on now.
It's hard, man.
Come on now. It is what it is, AJ. Tony Ferguson signed an impossibly long fight contract because he believed in himself and the UFC wanted to lock him down. But they do this in the hopes that you'll just retire. They don't want you to fight out your contract. They'll let you, but they would rather you just retire. Because if you retire, then, they have you and you're done. I mean, he's not a huge draw anymore for the UFC. They don't really need him, but they also don't want him to go fight Jake Paul or whoever.
Wow. It would be good for Ferguson if he could.
No, but that's what I mean. He
but listen,
won't.
Man, he didn't look great at all.
Or Nate Diaz in a boxing match or an MMA fight. Right? Because that's another thing. If Tony Ferguson is not under contract with the UFC anymore, he could go fight MMA for somebody else where he's not going to be fighting Michael Chiesa or Paddy Pimblett or Bobby Green. You know what I'm saying? He could go fight Jorge Masvidal. They could promote it themselves and take all the money. MMA. If he wasn't under contract.
Severe. But let's be honest,
you don't
Dave,
think GSP would have done something if the UFC didn't hold him down? UFC controls that man. He can't do anything. This guy would have competed.
You think so?
Yes. He was gonna box Oscar De La Hoya. The UFC said no.
Thank God he didn't.
I think he would have done fine.
Je pense pas, là.
What?
De La Hoya,
what, dude?
De La Hoya on coke? Forget it.
De La Hoya in like 2022 or something? Versus GSP today? Like, come on now, man. De La Hoya is nowhere near. Anyways, George tried to get out of his contract. He did an interview at one point. He's like, I'm a free agent. And then he's like, I'm going to do stuff. And then it never materialized. George wanted to do that grappling match even for UFC Fight Pass. He's like, but then he got hurt and it didn't work out. But come on, man. If that guy wasn't under contract, he'd be doing something else. But the UFC has kept him. They've kept him under contract. They own him, and it's unfortunate. That's just how it works for a lot of guys. You can retire if you want to, but you can't do anything else. If you retire from the UFC under contract, you've retired from all of combat sports. Unless you want to come back to the UFC. Right?
Look,
so
man,
Tony
I love
Ferguson,
Tony
everybody's
Ferguson.
Perplexed. Everybody's like, retire. He can't retire.
But he can't.
If he retires, then
and it's a shame.
Then he's done. Then he's never doing anything again. Which, you see Tony Ferguson, man. He wants to keep doing stuff. He's not going to stop. He's never going to stop.
He put one glove down. Dave. I mean, he's 50-50 in retiring, depending on what his family says. And to be honest, between me and you, like I said, I love Tony Ferguson. I was looking forward to that fight with Khabib, man. That was the fight I wanted to see of all UFC fights. That was the one I wanted to see. It didn't happen 3 times, man, and it was like a curse.
Yeah.
But let's be honest. Last week, the way he got choked out by Chiesa, man, that's like, he looked good, Tony. He came into that ring looking good. And, it's unfortunate that he has to lose that way, especially a choke like that most of the time he would have been able to get out of, like, easily. But he's at that point where it's like, it's hard for me to see as a MMA fight, Ferguson taking, like, a punishment like that. And I understand that he needs to make money. But, like, who wouldn't want to go to a Tony Ferguson jiu-jitsu gym or MMA gym? I mean, that's where you're going to make the money. Like, let's be honest. Tony Ferguson, man, like, it's just at this point where I kind of find it dangerous, man. I mean, look, it's a shame, man. It's a shame.
But it's a risk type of thing, man. Like, okay, you've lost 8 fights in a row, but say you have 2 fights left on your contract. I think you do them. You got to do them.
Yeah.
Take those fights, fight out your contract, and then, hope for the best. I think that's the move. If I mean, it sucks, but that's the situation he finds himself in. You sign these long-term deals. You can't sign a long-term deal with the UFC. I don't think it's smart to ever sign a long-term deal with the UFC. Anything past 3 fights, I think you just avoid as an MMA fighter. I think it's unwise to sign anything more than 3 fights with the UFC. Because you're either going to win and, you're going to be worth more to them, or you're going to lose, and then, you could move on. Like some of these guys, they go, I want to sign a 6-fight contract with the UFC because I want that security, longevity with the company because I might win a couple, lose a couple. But, like, they could cut you after you lose 1. They could cut you whenever you want. The contract isn't for you. It's for them. Like, this is what people don't understand. Like, oh, wow, you got an 8-fight contract. Good for you. No, it's not good for you. It's good for them. They can cut you whenever they want. You can't get out of it. How is that advantageous for the fighter ever? How is it ever a good idea to take a more than a 2-fight deal with the UFC? If they offer you more than 3 fights, say no. You can say, oh, what a tough negotiator. Da, da, da. Look at Francis Ngannou. Look, it worked out for him, didn't it? But you got to win. You got to be top guy to do that kind of thing. But if you're like a moneymaker for the UFC, sign nothing. Sign nothing for no amount of time. Like sign, if you could sign a fight-by-fight basis with the UFC, do it. Because as long as you win, they're going to want to have you around. Unless you're Muhammad Mokaev, right? They got rid of that guy. Right? Huh? Are you there?
And that's the thing. Like listen, can you hear me?
Oh, boy. AJ, are you glitching out
What?
on me? You good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Nah, you're on a delay.
I think
Disconnect
so.
and come back. Something
Damn it.
messed up.
Everything was going so well.
Yeah, something went wrong, I think. Are you still here? Wait, maybe it fixed itself. AJ,
Yeah,
I'm going to
man,
say
I'm
1,
still
2,
here.
3. You say 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3.
7, 8, 9.
I was way too long. I glitched? I think that was AJ glitching.
See,
See, AJ's like delayed.
that's what
now.
she says.
Huh?
No, because I didn't speak, man.
Oh, okay. I guess you're good. It seemed off. Something's off. Something's wrong. Something's gone wrong. Okay, so I watched a little Olympic wrestling today. It was pretty good. There was a Nurmagomedov in this thing too?
What?
Yeah, the country of Azerbaijan, their guy in freestyle wrestling. This was today I was
Part of
watching
Armenia.
it. He was an Azerbaijan guy. His last name was Nurmagomedov. His name was Osman Nurmagomedov. We just saw Usman Nurmagomedov fight on the weekend, and this wrestler for Azerbaijan was Osman Nurmagomedov. And he was wrestling at 86 kilos today. And he advanced into the semis, I think. No. Quarters. He lost in the quarters to a guy from a country I'd never heard of until today. I'm sure you've heard of it, AJ. San Marino.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Worst soccer team in the world.
Because it's in Italy, right? But it's not Italy. Are you there?
Yeah. It's I'm there, man. Can you hear me?
Oh, boy. You know what? Disconnect and come back, AJ. You're glitching out.
You hear me?
Just disconnect and come back. Just refresh yourself.
You were just at the good part of San Marino.
Yeah. We're going to bring AJ back here in a second. I think he's glitching out. I'm talking, and then like 15 seconds later, he's responding to me. I'm like, what? It's not AJ. It's his computer, I think. And he's back. AJ, you back? You good?
Back, man. I don't know if it's working.
Okay. I'm being told maybe it's me.
Is this shit working, man?
Yeah, it's working. I hear you. Can you hear me?
See, I always knew it. I hear you perfectly, man.
Apparently the weather's
seems
really
like you're
bad
right next to
outside.
me,
It's
man.
raining like crazy, AJ.
It
Apparently,
is, man.
might be
What?
messing
There's
with
a
us.
lot
I don't
of
know.
rain expected for tomorrow.
Uh-huh.
Mm.
Okay. I'm
Mother
watching
Nature,
the
man.
Yankees. It seems to be raining in the Bronx, too. It's raining everywhere. AJ, we've got some fights to preview. Tybura versus Spivak. It's a
Yes.
rematch between these two guys. They fought way back in 2020, which is 4 years ago now. Yeah, it's crazy. And Tybura fell to Spivak by unanimous decision in a 3-rounder. This one, a 5-rounder. Spivak coming off a TKO loss to Serghei in his last fight back in September of last year, while Tybura's last fight was a submission win over Tai Tuivasa back in March of this year. Not bad. It's the main event. Spivak
hard
minus
one, man.
155, Tybura plus 135. Yeah, seems about right to me. I think Spivak takes this one like he did 4 years ago. I've got Serghei Spivak in the main event this Saturday. Not the best card from the UFC. You know, they went a little bit better last weekend with their show in Abu Dhabi. They got next weekend in Perth, UFC 305. This one is in Vegas. It's at the Apex. You know, it's one of those fight nights in Vegas with no crowd. They didn't have to sell tickets, so they didn't really stack the card. Not the best.
Yeah, it's not one of the best cards, but you never know. It could be exciting, man.
You got a parlay for me on it? I don't have much on this card. It's not great.
Yeah, well, I gotta. Yeah, I'll go with my picks. So I'm gonna go with the opposite. I think Spivak, if he like gasses out like he did with Serghei, you know, it's gonna be a bad night with him against Tybura. I think Tybura is gonna be able to take this if he's able to close it in the early rounds. Like, I'm hoping that it's under 3 rounds and the victory is his. If it goes a little bit further, I mean, you know, I think Tybura can do it and Spivak will really lose. But I think, you know, it's his gas tank that worries me with Spivak. So I'm gonna go with Tybura with that one. Then I'm gonna go with Chepe Mariscal.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with Chepe. Then I'm gonna go with Danny Barlow. That's for sure. Nikolai is coming into the UFC in his first fight. I think he's 34 years old coming into his first fight in the UFC. That's questionable for me. Anybody that's coming in for his first fight on the big show, like at a latter age, is always like, oh man, his best days might have been behind him. And the thing with Danny is he's a beast. So this is a pretty solid, I think, win for Danny Barlow.
Okay. Minus 370, the favorite.
Yep. So, and then I'm going to go with a little bit of a change here because Gutierrez, like I said earlier, Chris Gutierrez was supposed to be fighting Javid Bajarat. And I was taking, yeah, Gutierrez, exactly. So what I said is that I was going to go with Bajarat over Gutierrez before that fight was like, you know, canceled and it's been changed over to Kwang Lee. The thing with Kwang Lee is there's not much about him, but this guy, man, is coming in as like an unknown. He's coming in with an 8-0 professional record. The guy has so much experience in the amateur ranks. So like when you look at 8-0, you think, okay, it's a really good run, but it doesn't account for all his amateur, like, you know, fights that he's had. I think, you know, Gutierrez was going to have a bad fight with Bajarat, and I really think this is going to be a very interesting fight, and I'm going with Kwang Lee on this. I think this guy is going to come in and surprise everybody. So if you want to go with a single bet, you know, and put like a little bit more on it, go with Kwang Lee. He's unknown, but let me tell you, very dangerous.
Okay.
And then
Kwang
let's
Lee.
see. We'll like
what else do you got?
Like
plus 425. Huge underdog. This is a
huge
4-fight parlay already, AJ. Do you have more for me, or are you done?
No, I'm not done yet. I'm going to go with the ladies, man.
Wow.
You got to go with the ladies. So I'm going to go with I'm gonna go with Chandler here. I mean, obviously, this fight is not gonna be anything to do with like submission. No one's a submission specialist between these two. You know, it's gonna be a stand up. Chandler's never been finished. She's gonna go out like a war dog. She's gonna go in there and just get attacked. She's gonna get picked off, but I think she's gonna come out with the win.
Oh boy, I had your parlay, but it's gone now.
War dog.
Oh man. Okay. So you've got Tybura, Mariscal, Barlow, Quang, and Chandler. 20 gets you 969.38 over at bet99.com. That is quite a parlay.
969.
Mariscal, Chandler, Barlow, Quang, and Tybura. 989. Sorry, 989.38 on a $20 bet.
You're speaking my language,
It's
Dave.
a huge parlay from AJ. Very, very nuts. But hey, you never know. You never
It could
know.
be twisted, like earlier in the show, but
Take a picture
that's a
of
good
you.
pick. I'm telling you.
Picture of your parlay so I can send it to you. You can make
Take
a
it, man.
graphic. Gotta, keep you honest. Because you
Angelo's
claim
in
to
the
pick
house.
people that you didn't actually pick. And, you claim victory when there is none. I know you, AJ. I'm watching. I'm going to give you a 2-fight parlay, and it's going to be very simple.
That's
it's
it?
going to be only women on this parlay. 2 fights. I'm going
Ooh.
with Chelsea Chandler. I like that pick. Plus 120 over Yana Santos. I like that pick quite a bit. AJ went with it too on his parlay, and I'm going to go with Carol Hossa, minus 215 to beat Pani Kianzad. I've got Hossa and Chandler.
Good pick.
20 gets you 64.47 over at bet99.com. It is a decent little parlay, 2-fight parlay
good payout. Wow.
for the UFC Vegas. Yeah, it is a good payout, right? It's
That's
it's
a good
not a bad
payout.
little parlay.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah.
No, not at all. I mean, like I'll even play that myself because I think that's a good pick, and
Yeah.
actually the payout is quite high, which I'm kind of surprised.
Me too.
So, yeah, that's a good one, man. That's a good return on money. And if mine comes out, man, cha-ching.
Wow. If yours comes out, we're all rich. All right? We're all rich. Shout out to everybody in the chat. I see Leor in the chat, member of the team over at join.ringsidereport.net. What's up, Leor? What's up, Angelo? Angelo Contagonis out in Laval in the chat as well. And Big Cheese Bob Burgers, another member of the team. Thank you to everybody tuning in. Even Johnny North, my man, in the chat. I know he's making fun of the Yankees, so I don't want to talk about him too much because the Yankees are down 8-1, and that sucks because we're actually going to lose this series to the Angels, which is outrageous. Should not be losing a series to the Angels.
Forget it. Never, man. Sad. And
Huh?
there's another Yankees fan. You got your Miss Brooklyn there as a Yankees fan
There you
too,
go.
man.
Yep, shouldn't be losing to the Angels here in this series, but Nestor pitched a bad one. We didn't get great starting pitching yesterday in the second game of the doubleheader, and then today, not great pitching from Nestor Cortez, and that's what you get. You lose. Johnny's
going
saying
to see the
lost the
Penguins at
division
the
too.
Bell
Yeah,
Center.
I mean, the division's kind of gone back and forth between the Orioles and the Yankees all year, John. And you know who hasn't been on top of the AL East for one game at all, ever, at any point this season? The Boston Red Sox, your team, John. So as you're talking shit, you might want to check yourself before you wreck yourself, because the Red Sox still, like, nowhere near the lead. So, you could talk shit about the Yankees being close to the Orioles, but, like, you're talking about the two best teams in all of baseball. So, good for you. I mean, we swept the Phillies in Philadelphia like last week, so I'm still fine. Ooh, Red Sox in a playoff spot. Ooh, good for you, John. Just barely hanging on. Just barely hanging on to a playoff spot. Yankees trying to win the division. You're just happy, hoping for a wild card position. Sad. Sad.
But then it's a new season, man, when that happens. Playoffs come, man. Anything could happen.
Yeah, I know.
You
never
could go
know.
from top to last or last to first, man, like this, right? Boom.
Just like that.
Just like that, man.
AJ, we have said it all. We've done it all. We've been here. We've done that. And we'll be back next week with a big show because we're previewing UFC 305 next week. And not only will we be previewing UFC 305 on Ringside Report MMA next week, we will also get the return of Fred Garcia, finally, to Ringside Report MMA. Fred has promised that he will be back from his extended vacation next week. You guys have left me alone for way too long. I mean, 2 weeks in a row, I was by myself on a Thursday night. Rude. Abandoning your main man.
Dave. I was busy like playing golf and doing all kinds of stuff. Freddie's been at like numerous amount of strip joints. I have no idea, but we're back, man. Freddie's back next week. He's got no money, but he's back.
You play golf?
You didn't know that?
No.
AJ plays golf, man. Yeah.
Really?
My brother's a good golfer. Yeah, man.
You golf with your brother?
We should have you know what? No, I haven't golfed with him this year, but he's better than I. But the thing is that what we should do, we should do a Ringside Report golf tournament since we couldn't do the softball tournament this year that went bust. We should do a golf tournament, raise some money, man, for some charity.
What are you talking about? I wouldn't even know where to start.
Let me handle it.
I don't golf.
I got clubs for you. Are you a lefty or a righty?
I mean, I'm a right-handed person, but I've never golfed.
Like when you shoot a hockey stick, do you shoot left or do you go right?
I don't.
Damn it. You're a difficult one, man.
I don't shoot
You're kind of like
sticks.
You're like a Happy Gilmore kind of guy.
I bat right-handed. I hit right-handed. I'm a right-handed. I throw right-handed, you know. I hit right-handed. I box right-handed.
So you might be a lefty in golf.
Sounds weird. Doesn't seem right.
I'm just saying. I have to see. I have to give you a club, man.
When I mini putt,
we should go, man.
I'm a good mini putter. Like I'm actually good at mini putt. Like not even joking. Like I'm good at mini putt. I could putt. You know, I'm good at putting. So, I don't know about the rest of the golf thing, but I think once I got on the green, I'd be pretty decent. I'm good at that. That part, I'm pretty sure I could do. The other parts, I don't know. Hitting the ball real far, like, I feel like I'd swing it and I'd miss the ball, you know?
It could happen, man.
Yeah.
Listen, and I just saw Angelo's comment, man. I wish I could get hit at 80, man. Like, I wanted to say, like, I play, like, you know, a 68, 69, you know, but I wish I could do 80 now. I'm not that good. My brother, on the other hand, is around, like, below that quite often.
Yeah, I don't know what that even means. I'm not a golf guy. I don't know.
Happy Gilmore, too, man. Confirmed. It's true, man. Talk about Happy Gilmore. It's coming back, the second part.
I would go golfing with you, though, AJ, because I assume you're not that good at it, and it'd be fun. It would take forever, though.
No, I think it's a great game, man.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. Like,
I
you'd
would
be
like
surprised
to try
how
it
many
out one
fights
day.
happen on the course.
I would try it out. I know Fred likes it. We should go with Fred. You, me, and Fred.
Yeah.
Maybe Johnny.
Yeah, grab a couple of stogies. We'll have like all kinds of drinks. It'll be fun, man.
Can we smoke weed joints?
I think you can. It's legal in Canada. Trudeau allowed that. I mean,
well, me and Fred are in then. Yeah.
And Johnny,
right.
Johnny, I don't know if he's. I don't know if
Johnny wants to golf.
Weed.
Has Johnny ever golfed before?
I could see Johnny golfing for some reason.
I feel like he'd be good.
He's from the Eastern Townships, man.
Yeah, Johnny, you must have
so many golf
at some point in your life. You should come. We should do like a Ringside Report Network golf game one day. We go golfing. Me and Fred and AJ and Johnny. I think Fred. I wonder who would win. How would that even go? I think Fred would probably win. I think he's golfed more than any of us. He was golfing like quite a bit at one point.
Was he?
Yeah.
Are you sure about that? I'm not. Are you talking mini putt
there was like
or
one
real
summer
golf?
where he was golfing a lot before he got into jiu-jitsu, I think.
Really? I find that hard to believe, but you know what? This is a new one I'll learn on Freddie.
Oh, Johnny's just like me. He's gone mini putting, but he's never golfed. He's just like me. We're the same, Johnny.
Happy Gilmore, man. I can't wait. Thanks, Johnny.
Cool. All right. Thanks, everybody.
Bob Barker's not going to be in it. That's unfortunate. Are you okay,
we'll talk to
Dave?
you again tomorrow. No. I'm going to be back tomorrow night, 10 p.m. Eastern Time with Wrestling Uncensored. Johnny North and I will be back tomorrow, 10 p.m., right after SmackDown, where we will see the return of the true Tribal Chief. Roman Reigns confirmed to be on SmackDown tomorrow. He returned at SummerSlam, and we will see the head of the table back on SmackDown tomorrow night, which will be very exciting to see. We
Cody
will talk
Rhodes, number
about
one.
that, and we will see Roman Reigns tomorrow on SmackDown, and we'll discuss it tomorrow night, 10 p.m. Eastern Time, on Wrestling Uncensored right here on the Ringside Report Network.
Whoa.
Thanks for sticking with us to the end. We would really appreciate it if you could help us spread the word. Please share this episode on whichever social media platform you use. Add a comment below and consider reviewing us on Apple Podcasts. We are an audience-supported network, so consider becoming a recurring supporter at membership.ringsidereport.net. Check out our website at ringsidereport.net. Hope to see